Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2016 animated zombie movie Seoul Station.
큰일 났네. 아유, 큰일 났어.
Hey, that's not fair. This is going to be a fine review, I promise. Now, the movie, on the other hand, you would be right about the movie. Seoul Station has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 39% fresh rating from the audience. I'm currently reviewing every movie that has a 100% fresh rating from the critics in chronological order. Now, this movie is unintentionally funny. It has some of the worst voice acting I've ever seen in my life. It has the worst twist ending I've ever seen in my life, and is possibly the worst animated movie ever made, and that says a lot. So this movie takes place in Seoul, and the main characters are Hye-Sun, who is a girl who used to work at a brothel, but now she lives with her boyfriend, Ki-Wong. Now, Ki-Wong is someone who is lazy. He doesn't want to work for a living. He kind of just wants to get by off other people. But his girlfriend's kind of getting upset at this, and she wants him to get out and start making money so he can support her. Now, his idea is to set up a website where he pimps her out, essentially. And, of course, she just got away from being in a brothel, and this is not something that she wants to do. So she decides that she's going to end her relationship with him, and he says, fine, like, I'm the best thing you've ever had. Don't call me ever again. Don't come to me when you need something. But when he puts this ad on the internet, it attracts a guy who says that he is Hye-Sun's father. So he calls up Ki-Wong and he says, hey, like, where's my daughter? I need to find her. I've been looking for her forever. And Ki-Wong says, oh, like, she talks about you all the time. I know you guys are estranged. She would love to see you. So they end up getting together, and he tries to find Hye-Sun so that she can meet with her father again. Now, as another side story, we see a gentleman who is a homeless gentleman on the ground in a gutter, like in the alleyway, who's bleeding and is very sick. He's obviously bleeding from his neck. His friend comes up to him and sees that he is basically dying, and for the next 30 minutes, his friend is panicked. He's trying to find medicine for his friend. He's trying to find medical treatment for his friend. He's just running into all these roadblocks because he's also homeless, and people in Seoul apparently hate homeless people. But he finally does find someone to help his friend, and when he gets back, his friend is no longer sitting there dying, but his friend is gone. He's completely nowhere to be seen. So of course the people he brought to try to help him don't believe him and said, like, oh, you just led us on this wild goose chase for nothing. So the gentleman who is the friend who was trying to find the medical treatment, he goes on his way, and he sees his friend who is dying in an alley standing before him, and like right in front of him. He's like, hey, like, what happened? I thought you were dying. And his friend is, of course, a zombie, and he rushes at him and he kills him. Now, this is where the zombie outbreak essentially happens. We don't know how the older gentleman was infected. We don't know what exactly did it, but now the outbreak is going to start. So everywhere around us, everyone's becoming a zombie. Hye-Sun is by herself. Ki-Wong is with her father, and the whole movie is them basically trying to meet up with each other, trying to find each other so that they can keep each other safe. There's a funny scene in this movie. Now, they never mention the word zombie in this movie ever. It's never something they say because they're confused throughout the entire movie as to what is happening to these people. There's a very funny scene that involves some police officers where these infected people, they're obviously infected and they're obviously zombies, are trying to break down the door of the police headquarters, and the cop is all like, oh, you stupid homeless people, get out of here, I said shoo.
아, 빨리들 나가요. 이 사람들이 지금 여기가 어딘 줄 알고. 진영아, 이 사람들 빨리 내보내.
And they break through the glass, and the cop's like, what's wrong with these people? Why are they so deranged? Why are they so mad? And they end up locking themselves in. The police officer, now Hye-Sun is also with the police officer, they end up locking themselves into the one of the cells where the zombie people are trying to get out of trying to get at him. Now, the police officer, one of his partners dies, and later on he comes up and he's a zombie too, and he's clearly like a zombie. He's clearly pale, and the police officer is all like, oh good, you're alive again, what happened, how come you died for a minute? And the cop's rushing him. He's like, "Why are you rushing me for? What's going on? What's wrong?"
진영아, 괜찮아?
So they're all pretty dumb. Like everyone in this movie is very stupid, and it's very cringy. It's very hard to watch. Like I said, they never find out these people are zombies. They just think that they're just crazed and something else is wrong with them. They never say zombie. So anyway, Hye-Sun is trying to get to her dad and Ki-Wong. She has a cell phone which has spotty service throughout the entire movie. There's also a funny scene later on where Ki-Wong is trying to escape a bunch of zombies in an alleyway. He's not wearing shoes, and to escape these people, he like does like a slide move on the ground in bare feet and like shorts, and perfectly fine after he slides on the gravel, and then he runs off, which I thought was really funny. Like, how can you do that and not injure yourself? It's so ridiculous. So they're trying to meet up with each other through the whole movie. They're constantly running into these roadblocks, constantly running into things that are going wrong. Everyone's dying around them. Everyone's like hurt and not doing well. And then finally, I'm going to spoil this movie, but you shouldn't watch this movie anyway. So this is a spoiler, but you shouldn't see it because it's a terrible movie. At the end of the movie, you get one of the worst, probably the worst twist in a movie ever, where they finally run into each other. Now, Hye-Sun has been scratched by a zombie, so you know that at some point she's going to turn into a zombie and she's no longer going to be alive. But Ki-Wong is able to get her father and her back together, and when she sees him, she says, "That's not my father. That's the pimp I used to have at the brothel." So throughout the entire movie, this guy who we think is the father, and he's just so focused on finding his daughter and making sure that she's alive and trying to get to her, and that's like his passion. That's what's driving him throughout the whole movie, is try to get to his daughter and save her. And you want him to get to her, you want them to meet up again, you want everything to be okay, you want this great ending, this happy ending. You just learn that he was like her pimp, and she just wants his money, and he's all like, "You can die if you want, but I want my money. You owe me money, girl. Where's my money?" And it's like, come on, this is a zombie outbreak. People are dying all around him. This is completely unbelievable. There's no way that anyone, even like the most die-hard pimp who wants his money, there's no way he's going to risk his life during this outbreak to try to get money off a girl who obviously doesn't have it and will never have it. It's so ridiculous, and it just makes the audience seem like they're stupid. If they're going to believe it, they're stupid. That's what they think the audience is. They think the audience is dumb. And the reviewers, the critics who gave this a thumbs up and said that this was a great movie, they're all idiots. That's my opinion. Like, I never call anyone an idiot, but if you like this movie, I'm sorry. I think that there's something wrong, because this is the worst twist ending ever. It's a slap in the face to anyone who watched this movie all the way through and they get to this point and this is what happens and this is what they're given, and it's just a waste of time. I wasted my time watching this movie for the stupid twist ending. So anyway, he ends up killing Ki-Wong because Ki-Wong tries to save his girlfriend, tries to get her away from the pimp, and he ends up killing him because Ki-Wong is a bit of like someone who doesn't have a backbone. He's kind of squeamish. He's not a fighter. He's not a lover. He's kind of just like, I don't know, just a guy who exists who has, like, he's not anything, basically. And he ends up getting killed, and at the end of the movie, the pimp gets Hye-Sun on a bed, and he's getting ready to rape her because he like knocked her unconscious. He's getting ready to rape her, and as he's getting ready to rape her, she dies, and then she becomes a zombie and she kills him, and that's the end of the movie. It's a stupid ending, a stupid twist ending. The acting is terrible, some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. The only redeemable thing about this movie really is the animation. The animation is really good. It's really smooth. It's really solid. They do zombies really well. Like, I really enjoyed watching this movie from an animation standpoint, but everything else is just so bad. At the beginning of the movie, when I first started watching it, I said, oh man, I hope that this isn't like all the voice actors are this bad. I hope that it's just a couple of different characters who they just got the wrong people for the part. But it's every character in this movie is just terrible, terrible bad. And like I said, everything is. At the end of the movie, I felt robbed. I felt cheated. I felt like this was, I put so much, I really was into the story. Like, the story is not bad. It's not the best ever. Like, as far as zombie movies go, I wish they would have at least, like, figured out that these were zombies. Like, there was some resolution that, okay, like, we're being attacked by zombies. But it was okay. It was good enough to follow. I was doing okay. Like, I felt like, oh, this isn't, like... This isn't a 10 out of 10, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. Maybe a 7 out of 10. But then once they hit me with that twist ending, once I was like, okay, this is really quite terrible. And I hope to never watch this movie again. I will never recommend it to anyone. That way, no one will ever know about it. I'll never have to see it ever again because I watched it this time. And like I said before, I know I sound like a broken record. I don't understand. I think it was 24 critics reviewed this movie and said they liked it. I can't understand that. The 39% of the audience who said they like it, I don't understand that either. I'm very much in the ballpark of the 61% of people who didn't like it. But good animation. It's still better than a few other movies that I've watched. I'm going to end up giving it a 5 out of 10 just because I enjoyed the animation. For at least part of the movie, I thought part of the movie was okay. Even though the voice acting was bad, I still thought, you know, there were glimmers of hope in this movie, especially the dad scene with him trying to get to his daughter. I really enjoyed that until it was stolen from me at the end. But anyway, it's a 5 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review a movie called The Age of Shadows, which I have not watched yet, so I need to get on that. Thank you. Have a great day.